Winston Churchill, ladies and gentlemen, one of the great heroes, at least in my opinion, of the world. In fact, when Time magazine was going to pick the man of the century, or the person of the century, I'm sorry, Winston Churchill was considered, but they took a pass because they thought he was a colonialist, and of course he didn't believe in the advancement of women. In those days, nobody did, but everything has to be judged in modernistic terms. Anyway, Winston Churchill was always one of my big fans because my mom and dad loved him. I remember when he died, his funeral was shown on television in the United States. People mourned. He's the man that said there's an Iron Curtain. He's the man that stood up to Hitler and helped lead the charge against him. There's a lot to admire. Anyway, in fact, I recently read a book by a young lady called Gretchen Rubin called 40 Ways to Look at Winston Churchill. Gretchen had nothing negative to say. However, this leads us to this recent controversy about President Obama removing Winston Churchill's bust out of the Oval Office. Now, President Obama, I forget exactly where he was at. They were asking him this at a press conference. Maybe it was in Cuba. He had just finished dancing. I think eventually he's going to do Dancing with the Stars, and I bet he's going to win. He's a very good dancer. And finally do something important. Anyway, when asked about removing the bust, he said that, he's the president, the Oval Office is his now, and he wanted somebody that reflected more of his generation. And a hero of his generation was Martin Luther King. Now, nobody can argue with that. However, I think he missed the point about the Winston Churchill bust. You see, that bust had been in there since 1943. Franklin Delano Roosevelt put that in the Oval Office, and every president, Republican or Democrat since, have kept that bust in the Oval Office. Now, I don't hold that against President Obama. He's the president. He gets to do what he wants. However, now I believe it's become a tradition that the new president just gets to put in the Oval Office what he wants. Ladies and gentlemen, consider, if Donald Trump becomes the president, do you know what I think is going to happen? He's going to have a bust of Donald Trump in the Oval Office. And not just one. I think maybe two. Perhaps a complete statue. I'd like you to comment on this. We have a section for that, ladies and gentlemen. And we hope you subscribe because Big Daddy knows.